Welcome to my channel, Let's Summarize It. My name is Hussam Al-Daman. Today we're going to talk about a widely held idea that higher education changed only due to COVID-19, when in fact there were many signs that showed that change was on its way prior to 2020. An article that addresses this was published in the Chronicle of Higher Education on August 25th, 2021. This was published by Arthur Levine and Scott Van Pelt. The title of the article is 5 Ways Higher Ed Will Be Upended. The article goes on to say that it actually interviewed and spoke with many decision makers in the higher education sector. Presidents, members of boards of trustees, deans, associate presidents. They spoke to many people, and what they said was that they feel that the pandemic was a disruption and they are eager to go back to the status quo. None had mentioned that change was coming. So the article talks about 5 things that were actually in play prior to the pandemic. Number 1, there is institutional control that will decrease and the power will be shifting to the consumer. And the consumer in this case is the student. So they say, and I quote, "Students have more choice over what, where, when, and how they consume information." So what this means is that the student's voice is louder than what used to be, and they are more in position to make requests and ask for the things that they want and not just wait for what's given to them. The second reason, students will seek from higher education the things that they were getting from other industries, such as the music industry, the movie industry, the newspapers. The paper talks about 2 types of important students that we need to look out for: digital natives and older students. What these 2 groups have in common is that they want convenience, service, quality, affordability, and they want to pay only for the things that they plan to consume. So they're not interested in things like, for example, sports facilities if they're not into sports, or campus events, or paying for electives that they don't plan to take. So they make this analogy of comparing students to people that in the past used to have to buy an entire album to listen to a single track. Now they can get the track on its own. So they just want to pay for the things that they want. They also talk about students that have a very busy lifestyle. These are the non-traditional students. They will come only to the university to attend classes and then they will leave. So the time that they want to spend on campus will be very limited, unlike what we used to see where students would actually have this entire collegiate life, and that obviously will change as time goes by. The third reason that they give is that there's a new influx of post-secondary entities who will be entering the marketplace and competing with traditional universities. Now, this is going to, of course, result in reducing the price for education. They discuss one important player, which is Coursera. Coursera was launched in 2012 to provide MOOCs, and now they are known as the leader in online education. They have more than 77 million users. They offer more than 4,000 courses in multiple fields. Their content comes from world-leading universities, over 200 of them, in addition to businesses and nonprofit partners. The paper provides examples such as Cisco, Goldman Sachs, Alibaba, the American Museum of Natural History, the Museum of Modern Arts, and the World Bank. These are entities that provide content to Coursera, of course, which is much more in tune with the market and much more current. Of course, this was happening prior to the pandemic, and of course now the pandemic has accelerated that growth. However, these were things that were happening prior to 2020. Number 4, they talk about the industrial era model of higher education, where the focus was on time, on process, And this is going to be changed, of course, by the new knowledge economy, which focuses on outcomes. So they say, and I quote, there's going to be a shift that will take place from fixed time to fixed outcomes. The focus will be on achieving outcomes instead of spending time and working with credit hours and semesters. That will be changed. The fifth reason that they give that higher education was in motion, was in the process of changing prior to the pandemic, was that there's this focus now on just-in-time teaching vis-a-vis just-in-case teaching. So what they say, just in case, this is where teaching takes place and students are given skills and knowledge that will help them to find important jobs in the future. So this is to help them in the future. Just-in-time education allows them to understand and live in the moment, to study and learn for things that they need now. So they're just going to be taking things that they need now instead of taking a whole variety of things that they might need in the future. So the paper goes on to say that there are going to be new programs that will be coming into play. And they are going to be provided by multiple institutions who will be providing micro-credentials and badges. The paper concludes by saying that very important players in the market such as Google, Ernst & Young, Hilton, Apple, Nordstrom, and IBM, they have all announced that they no longer require college degrees for employment. Now I'm going to stop to give you my opinion, and of course I would love to hear yours. So there is no doubt that COVID-19, the lockdown, and everything that has happened since spring 2020 has impacted higher education as it has impacted many sectors in the economy. However, it's important to note and to acknowledge that change was already happening. COVID-19 came and it exposed lots of the weak spots, and of course it expedited the changes that were already going to be taking place. The single most important thing that I believe was not mentioned in this paper, and this is my opinion of course, is that as long as society continues to place value on college education, we're going to continue to abide by the rules that are set by the higher educational institutions. The moment that the society, and of course when I say society I mean the parents of the students, the guardians, the employers, society as a whole, once they become more accepting of other forms of assessment and accreditation and learning in general, then the importance and the value that's given to college education is going to change dramatically. This is my opinion, and of course I would like to hear yours.